Welcome to Municipal Affairs. Last month, over 2,000 municipal leaders from across Canada gathered in the nation's capital for the annual Federation of Canadian Municipalities Tradeshow and Convention. Held in Ottawa, the event served as a vital forum for local governments to unite, collaborate, and confront the major issues shaping communities from coast to coast to coast. The conversations were far reaching and deeply consequential, from urgent calls for bail reform and demands for stable, predictable federal funding to critical discussions around mental health, addictions, and the rising threat of digital misinformation. These are challenges that no community faces alone, and the FCM Convention offers space to share solutions and strategies. For one municipal leader from the Northwest Territories, this year's gathering comes at a particularly urgent time. In the remote community of the town of Norman Wells, Mayor Frank Pope is facing growing concerns. With historical low water levels along the Mackenzie River, critical supply routes are threatened, and the clock is ticking. Mayor Pope told us that while his community is prepared for the summer and fall, he's deeply concerned about what lies ahead. If the winter supplies brought in during the cold months run out before the winter road reopens later this year or potentially not till 2026, Norman Wells could face more serious shortages. For Mayor Pope, this convention wasn't just a meeting. It was a call for national solidarity. He believes now is the time for the country to come together and build a lifeline for remote northern communities like his. Mayor Pope, thank you so much for sitting down with me at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention here in Ottawa, Ontario.
My pleasure.
You and I have chatted numerous times over the last few years, since last Federation of Canadian Municipalities in Calgary. We are 1 year since you first sounded the alarm about the challenges that your community was going through, about the Mackenzie River drying up. How is it 1 year later?
The river is still very low. I doubt there will be any barge traffic this coming summer. We were very fortunate over the winter that our winter road got everything in for 1 year. Everything we wanted for the next year is in, including diesel fuel, heating fuel, aviation gas, and gasoline. Everything came in. We've got heating fuel to about 120% of what we anticipate needing for the year. Our big concern now is what happens next winter if it's warm. Can we get everything in again? The other issue with our merchants, bringing all that merchandise in at one fell swoop, is you've got to pay for all that stuff right up front. They bring in a bunch of material, everything, half of their supplies for the year on the barge in the summer, maybe 2 barges over the season, and then in the winter road bring a bunch more stuff in. This year there's only one route of supply, and that was the winter road. So I'm assuming they went into pretty high debt to buy all the supplies for the year. But they did it. Congratulations to the NWT government for putting money into the road to keep it safe and stable. And not only Norman Wells, the other 4 Satu communities got all the material in as well. The only thing missing was Colville Lake to the northeast of us. We're waiting for a new school to come in, and it did not make it. But everything else that we're aware of came in.
So over the last year, you and I've chatted, and you had some very strong words about the previous administration under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau about the lack of funding for Canadians and Canadian municipalities who were struggling. I'm not sure if you caught Prime Minister Carney's address to FCM delegates on the day 1 of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, but he talked about building faster, building bolder, and building bigger. And that means roads and infrastructure. Are you optimistic that the road that since Mulrooney has been pledging?
No, since Diefenbaker. Go back to the 60s, that's when it started.
So since Diefenbaker, the road might actually get started and get done under this new administration because they want to build in Canada faster and stronger.
I think the plan is great. I encourage him to try and make it work. However, he's got to remember in the Northwest Territories, we have Indigenous land claims and we have co-management boards looking after the environment, looking after applications for development, mining, oil and gas, that type of thing. And the current highway project's been under environmental assessment now for years, and we're hoping it will be over soon and maybe work can start. So once that's out the way, in our case, we're looking forward to him being able to fund the business case supplied by the Northwest Territories government. That is apparently prepared, ready to go. But once we have to get through the environmental assessment and see what the terms and conditions are made by the review board. Once that's out of the way, then they apply for the money, knowing what they got to do. It's a shit show, pardon my French, but it's a long, drawn-out process. And if he can find a way to fast forward it, good luck to him. But I can see it's not just as easy as just saying so. There's a lot of stumbling blocks along the way.
It's not every day that the mayor of Norman Wells gets to come to Ottawa. I know you've been here a few times in your role of advocacy with what's going on in your community. Yeah. But you're here and there's been ministers. I'm assuming you went over to Parliament Hill, chatted with your minister / MP, Rebecca Alty, the Honourable Rebecca Alty. Have you connected with the people that you needed to connect with while in Ottawa to make sure that this new government, under Mark Carney, even though it is a Liberal government, same people, different places, but have you connected with the people you needed to ensure that they are aware of what's going on in Norman Wells?
Not as many as we would have hoped to. We had a very good meeting with the Honourable Rebecca Alty yesterday. She took time out of her schedule to come and meet with us. Very productive meeting. She's just at the stage of now getting her feet wet. As she said, the honeymoon will be over soon, and then the work starts. So we are relying on her to pass our message on to the people who need to hear it. Our biggest issue right now is infrastructure. It is Canada-wide issues for municipal governments, infrastructure. In our case, we've got the receding permafrost. So buildings that were built on permafrost at some time are now starting to wobble and shake. We have a community hall that was just put $500,000 in to redo the foundation because of permafrost causing slippage and some decay underneath the building. We have an arena which was built 30 years ago, which needs a lot of care and attention. We just put over 2 years, I believe, $2 million into a water treatment plant to keep it running. 30 years old, still running only because our staff, our community have kept it working and it is good. But $2 million, we can only do that this time. $1 million last year, $1 million this year, and our water treatment plant is working, it is safe. Now again, our water comes out the Mackenzie River. So if the Mackenzie River gets to a stage where it's low, we're going to be sucking silt into the water treatment plant rather than water. So we've got to take care of all that. Nothing's easy up where we are right now. But my biggest concern, two of them, aging infrastructure, the lack of an all-season road, and the fact that we can no longer rely on our other systems of transportation. Our highway was the Mackenzie River. We've lost that for now. It may come back again. We've had floods within the last few years in that same damn river. But right now BC's in a mess. They're in drought conditions. They've got dams on the Peace River. So for as far as our water supply, we have to rely on the Athabasca River coming out of the mountains in British Columbia, and their snow melt, I'm told, is very low this year. So it does not look very good, to be honest with you. The government did put a lot of money in at Hay River, which is our terminal for freight, and did a bunch of dredging because of the low water. I hope that's meaningful, but we're not sure about that.
What's next now? Because you're heading back to Norman Wells today as of the last day of the convention.
Yep.
With a quick stopover in Edmonton, what do you do now to ensure that the advocacy work that you did here with the Honourable Rebecca Alty, with the people of FCM, doesn't stop? What are you hoping to do once you get back to Norman Wells to make sure that
the first thing
you have a clock ticking, and it is about 8 months away until the frost comes, or
that's right.
Hopefully the frost comes in.
September. Our frost comes early.
if it comes early this year.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
Heat, weather. But what do you do?
My first rule as mayor is our delegation will go home and report back to our community. We'll put it on our website or whatever. We'll tell the community what we did, who we met with. We also, as you know, in the past we've had very good success with our Senator Anderson from the Northwest Territories helping us using staff to help us write some of our documentation, so we're doing it legally and properly. So we did meet with them. We've had a good visit with the Senate and some other senators we'd met before. So we get a lot of support from the Senate. Now with MP Alty, we're hoping we can do a lot more with the federal government. We've not had a lot of success with the feds up the last couple of years, probably going through other issues. But you know, we talk about going into a state of emergency for humanitarian reasons, lack of resupply, $5 a litre for heating fuel. But when I look at what's happening right now across the prairies, we've had it pretty good. These people are suffering way worse than we ever could think of. Last year, as you know, we had wildfires in Fort Good Hope. We had the evacuation from them come to us. Now we're not in the, we had a town of say 700 people accepted 240 evacuees. That was tough on us. I'm saying what's happening in Winnipeg, the cities to the south with tens of thousands of people being evacuated. Man, I feel for them. We've gone through it. We know what it's about. Norman Wells in 95, we were evacuated. No, we had a community evacuated to us in 95. Then we were evacuated along with the people that we brought in to Yellowknife and Inuvik because we had wildfires approaching our community. We know what it's like. We're worried about it. My wife called last night, Frank, there's thunderstorms all around town. We're scared, you know. We're worried about ourselves this year. We've got a lot of bush, we've got a lot of combustible material all around our community, and we're worried about that too.
My last question before I let you go, because I know you have another thing that you have to get off to here, but what do you get? What do you as the mayor of Norman Wells get from attending conventions like the Federation of Canadian Municipalities?
The networking, meeting people from other communities with the same issues, trying to sit down and sit there and over a bottle of beer and say, here's some ideas that we should be sharing with each other as communities, with the provincial government who will look after us, ha ha ha, and then also with the federal government. Find ways to work together. And networking, I find, is the best thing of these communities. We get a lot of speeches, a lot of good presentations. I was very impressed with some of the presentations the other morning. The CEO of FCM was a very good speech, very, very good. The mayor of, I believe it was Ottawa?
Yep, Mark Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course the Prime Minister, but I think he's still feeling his oats, so he's got a ways to go yet. But we do have some good leadership in good positions, and we've got to show support for them. They have a vision that we see in the distance. We're just a little place up in the North Country, but we feel we're as important as people in the cities. The big cities, they seem to run Canada. Well, I think it's time for us little folks to have a better voice. And I was so pleased with Rebecca being elected as MP and now as a cabinet minister. And we're going to work her. We're going to use her. And after our meeting yesterday, she's there to work with us and for us, as well as other. Once you're a minister, it's not just your own community you got to look after. You got Canada, and she understands that. And I wish her very well, because we're kind of proud to have a Northerner in that portfolio. It's a very important one across Canada, and we'll watch her do her job. We will not be greedy asking her for services, but we will keep in touch.
Mayor Pope, always a pleasure to sit down with you and chat. Look forward to our next conversation, whatever that may be. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Nice to talk to you again. Safe travels home.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs. Now, we hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Municipal Affairs, which was only made possible by you, are generous supporters of the Cross Border Network. Your continued support and financial backing of this show makes episodes like today's possible. If you want to join the growing list of supporters, head over to the crossborderinterviews.ca website and support the show today. To stay in the loop with all of our latest episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, and follow us on social media. For even more content and to learn more about the stories and the people we feature on this show and our sister shows, visit us online at crossborderinterviews.ca. Again, your support means the world to us, so share this episode with your friends, your family, and help us keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs soon. Till then.